Hi everyone, happy International Women's Day. This week at Field Doctor, we're very much focused on women's health to help break that bias. And today I have the pleasure of speaking to PT Sage over at Echelon, and we're going to be talking very much about women's fitness and what you can do for fitness at various stages of your life. We've had a few technical issues, so I am going to try to invite her, so just bear with me 1 second to see if that works. But we're going to be covering lots of stuff this week. Fantastic.
It worked. How was the everything? Is it clear? Can you guys see me? Amazing.
It's great. It's great. It all looks good. I think this is what, take 5. We're good.
It's perseverance. We got there in the end. Happy International Women's Day, everybody.
Absolutely. It's the grit and the resilience
Exactly.
that gets us there. So, Sage,
Yes.
I gave a bit of an intro, but I'd love you just to quickly introduce yourself and, your specific interest in women's fitness, how that kind of came about, and, what areas that you focus on
Sure.
when it comes to women's
So
fitness.
hello, everybody. If you haven't met me before, my name is Sage. I'm the lead trainer at Echelon. Echelon is an at-home connected fitness company. So what we do is we stream live classes and on-demand classes directly to your home. My specific area of expertise is cycling, so indoor cycling, but I also have a specific interest in pre- and postnatal health. That stems from my own pre- and postnatal journey. And when I was pregnant, I realized how there isn't very much out there. There aren't very many resources out there for women to go and to take a class and to feel really confident and really comfortable with the class and it being as safe as possible for everybody. So I do think that women are so strong and so amazing, and so that is just specifically why I'm very interested in all of it. So that's me.
Oh, brilliant. Excellent. And when it comes to women's fitness, if we sort of take a step back, I know we're going to talk a little bit around prenatal and postnatal, but I'd love to dig a little bit deeper about general fitness principles for women, irrespective of what stage of life, and if you've got any
Sure.
tips around that.
If we sort of look at the history of women's fitness, a lot of it is catered and directed to the way that we should look, and that we should look in a specific way rather than the way that we should feel. I know personally, looking at sort of my mother, my grandmother, there was always this idea of being slim, right? And being, and doing cardio all the time to get there. Whereas there's now been sort of a transition into strength training, into, mental well-being. And so it's just about thinking a lot about how exercise should make you feel and what the real benefits are behind things like strength training, mobility training, all of these things that we didn't actually take into consideration 30 years ago. So that's,
Yeah, and really important, as women progress, for example, most women will hit their peak bone mass at 30. And, when it comes to strength training is one of those key things that helps underpin bone mass and ensures that your bones are healthy. And just not enough women are doing it, because I guess when I go to the gym, I have an image of lots of guys pumping iron, and just all seems a bit sort of scary. And it's, I've started doing it and I do it twice a week. Any tips for women that just want to get into
yes,
strength
absolutely.
training?
So it can feel really intimidating to go into a gym and to see sort of that sort of bro gym look and feel to something. My, I guess, biggest advice is to recognize that everybody has that first day in a gym and that it is scary. And if you mess up and you don't know what to do, there is always someone there to help you. And if they don't help you, well, they just missed out on a great conversation with you, right? So number one is it is scary. That first step is hard, but I encourage you to take it. Number two is to keep it simple. And I break it down in my head when I go into the gym. I go, pick heavy stuff up, put heavy stuff back down. It is as easy as that to begin with. And step 3 is if you can afford it within your budget, is to look for a PT or to look for any resources to help you get into a gym to feel confident to pick heavy stuff up and put heavy stuff back down. So those are my 3 top tips. and to just make sure that you're lifting heavy. I mean, there are so many sort of, I guess, myths behind what it means to strength train. So a lot of women who come to me who want to train with me, they say, well, I do want to get heavy, and I do want to get stronger. I don't want to get bigger and bulkier. That's a big one, isn't it? Like, we all want to feel toned, but we don't want to get big and bulky. Now, that can't actually happen unless you are sort of looking very deeply into your diet. You're using bulking powders and protein powders and all kind of stuff. You are only going to get as big as you genetically can get. But what you can do is get stronger, and I think that that is incredibly important for all women.
Yeah, absolutely. And particularly as people age, you want to make sure that you've got good, lean muscle mass, and strength training can help with that. So how many times a week would you advise women do strength training versus cardio?
I would say strength training, you want to do it at least 2 to 3 times a week. Cardio, we sort of say 5 to 6 times a week. But if I were to ever have a choice between doing strength training and doing cardio, oh gosh, that's hard. But I would always sort of opt for strength training because it's something, cardio you can do. You can go out for a walk. You can go out for a cycle. That's almost easier to get than it is for your strength training session. So really making sure that you focus on that at least 2 or 3 times a week.
Okay, cool. Noted. And when it comes to cardio, any better forms of cardio
for women specifically? No, I think it just kind of depends on what it is that you like and what it is that gets you going out there. So for some people, I just feel like walking is so underrated. We just think, it's just a walk. What could it possibly do? But walking is fantastic, especially if you think about what I call it is mindful walking. So making sure that you're walking with like your chest really up proud, your core is engaged, and you go out for that 30-minute walk. That gives you so many benefits in your day to day. So whatever it is that like inspires you to continue to go out, swimming, cycling, come to my cycling classes, walking, anything like that would be beneficial.
We talk a little bit about pelvic floor, why it's important, and should we all be doing exercises? I sort of feel like pelvic floor exercises is like flossing. It's the one thing that I know that I should be doing, but I just never
That
really
is such a good way of putting it. That's exactly how I feel.
And dental flossing, not the other type of flossing, because I haven't even mastered that. So.
It is. Now, I'm just going to put it out there. So any men who are joining us, pelvic floor exercises are not just for women. But it does play an important part in women's lives because if we want to bear children or after we've had children, they do tend to get weaker. So just as a little bit of a background, your pelvic floor muscles are a ring of muscles that are located in your pelvis. And what they do is they hold in your bladder, your bowel system, and so as we age or as we start to have babies or whatever, that can start to get a little bit weaker. So what happens is we have those oopsie moments where we might experience incontinence, and in severe cases, it could be that your uterus actually prolapses, and that means that it comes out of of that muscle. So it's very, very important that we keep that muscle strong to hold everything in place. This isn't just for women, this is for men as well.
And we should all be doing them daily. Any tips on
like
what
you
we
said,
should be
at
doing?
least with flossing, you only have to do it once a day. With pelvic floor muscle, you can do it. The good thing about it is that you can do it anywhere. And I would recommend you actually do it at least 3 or 4 times a day, especially if you're expecting to have a baby or straight after having a baby. Or if you sort of experience things like incontinence, like we're all adults, we understand that these things happen, later on in life. So just make sure that you're doing it 3 or 4 times a day. And it only takes a couple of minutes, 2 to 3 minutes at a time. And I would say, I'm more than happy to sort of talk you through what that might feel like and how to do it. If we have a little bit of time, Sasha?
Yeah, we do. I'd love to. Are you happy to kind of give us a quick demo?
Absolutely.
And tell us what we should be doing?
So if anybody's there and you can sort of put your phone on the side, you can actually join me for this one. So what I want you to do is to go onto your knees, or you can sit down, whatever you do to feel comfortable. And what I'm going to do is just sort of talk you through what that might feel like. So like I said, your pelvic floor muscles are that ring situated in your pelvis. Now, if you think about them a bit like an elevator, that's a really good analogy of how we discuss it. Those muscles, as you exhale, you're going to pull that pelvic floor muscle, so you're going to squeeze it in and hold it up. And you're going to hold it there for about 2 to 3 seconds to start with. I know, I can see Sasha's doing it. And then as we inhale, we're just going to let it go. So we're going to think of that pelvic floor muscle as a lift. So as it comes up, you're thinking about 2 or 3 stairs, or levels, as you will, and then as you inhale, that comes all the way down, and we relax those muscles. Now, like with any muscles in our body, we've got slow twitch and fast twitch muscles. So that, I won't go into the nitty gritty a bit, but what you want to do is change the timings with which you do those exercises. So we're going to do it together if anybody is there with me. Sasha, get ready to sweat. We're going to do some quick pelvic floor muscle exercises. So what that means is that we hold it in for about 2 seconds, 1, 2, and let it go. And it should feel a little bit like you're trying to hold wee in, right? So if you went to the bathroom, you tried to hold it, that's what you want to do. So we hold it again, 1, 2, let go. Hold it again, 1, 2, let go. That is supporting you. It's very, very fast, you let it go. Now, if you want to focus on your slow twitch muscles a little bit more, your fast twitch muscles, you're going to hold it in. You want to hold it for about 15 to 20 seconds. Now, depending on how strong your muscles are, you might actually find that you're starting to let it go sooner than that. And that gives you an indication that you should probably be doing it a little bit longer. So we're holding that ring of muscles in, holding it as if we're trying to wee. Just count it out. As tight as you can, tight, 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 and then you let it go. And I'll tell you what, I fit this around my day. I'll be on the tube, and if you see me making funny faces, it's because I'm doing my pelvic floor muscles. So you're not alone.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Thanks so much for that. That's perfect. I'm definitely going to add that to my flossing regime as well. I wonder whether I can floss and do pelvic floor exercises at the same time. I'm the least coordinated person you've ever met, so very highly unlikely. But oh, brilliant. Thanks, Sage. And what about pregnant women and exercise? Any tips around that? Because, obviously as a dietitian, we know the benefits of remaining fit and healthy even when you're pregnant. And I think society has a very strong view, a very traditional, historical view that women should rest and not do anything whilst pregnant. How does that sort of transpire when it comes to fitness? I will
always say that exercise, for the most part, is very beneficial. It doesn't matter what stage of life you are in or if you are pregnant. The number one thing you need to do is to check in with your doctor to make sure that you have a low-risk pregnancy and to get the okay from them. The second thing you need to do is to check in with yourself and to see how you're feeling. So what your doctor will recommend is that you can do the exercises that you did before you were pregnant. So now, if you are pregnant, it is not the time to start hitting those personal bests. You can wait. It will be there for you later. And then, like you mentioned, there is quite a lot of stigma still about women who sort of walk into the gym heavily pregnant, do their exercise, and people will look and they will sort of almost judge and criticize and think, well, shouldn't you be in bed resting? Well, no. If you feel confident, if you feel healthy, and you feel like you can do it, by all means, go ahead and do it. There are some things that I would recommend that you don't do while you're pregnant, and I'll just give you my top 3 to make sure that you're not including these in your program while you're pregnant. Number 1, if you are 20 weeks plus into your pregnancy, you don't want to incorporate any exercises that are on your back. The reason for this is that as baby gets a little bit heavier, they start to press down into a specific vein that that circulates oxygen to the baby. The second thing that you want to think about is how you feel when you lift over your head. So we've got a lot of blood flowing in our system when we're pregnant. If you feel good putting your hands over your head, fantastic, by all means. But what can happen is your blood pressure can lower and you can start to feel a little bit dizzy. That's my second one. And third one would be anything that could potentially lead you to losing your balance. I mean, that is it. Those are your 3 things not to do. Otherwise, by all means, go ahead and do what you were doing before.
Okay, that sounds simple. And what about after you've had a
After
baby?
you've had a baby, you're going to get the green light, hopefully, after 6 weeks after you've had your baby. So your doctor's going to go through, they're going to do an examination, and just to make sure that you are ready to go at 6 weeks. Now, I'm a fitness trainer. I've trained for a very long time. I was training when I was pregnant. After 6 weeks, I was still not ready to go. And I was okay with that. And there is this bounce back culture that is still so prevalent in our day-to-day society, where you see these before and after images of women who are pregnant and then suddenly their bodies look exactly the same before pregnancy. That is just not realistic, and it's just not how the real world works. I am the first one here to tell you guys, don't worry about bouncing back. Focus more on how you feel. My daughter is 7 months old. She's still not sleeping through the night. There are days where I cannot work out because my body is just not allowing me to because I'm so tired. So ignore the haters, ignore the bounce back culture, and just do what feels good. Now, this will also depend on how you feel after you've had your baby, how you've had your baby, and how you're healing. I had 2 cesarean sections myself, so that second time round, walking to the block was tricky. Down the block, that was my workout, just walking down the block and back up. And very, very slowly, I started to go back to how I sort of trained normally before I was pregnant. So I would say listen to your body before anything. Don't look at the before and after pictures that you're going to see on Instagram. They are not real. They are not healthy. Do what feels good for you.
Yeah, I had a C-section too, and I concur. I mean, at 6 weeks, there was no way I was ready. So I think you have to listen to your body, and, if in doubt, speak to your GP and healthcare professionals to get the right advice about when you're ready to do it. And don't feel the pressure. Everything's all about
And
perfection,
especially sort of
looking,
on Women's
looking
Day, we celebrate women, but then any other day after this, there's sort of these expectations of women, right? To make it look like you didn't have a baby. Well, you did have a baby, and your body is going to change, and it's just about, it's harder, it's easier said than done, but embracing the new version of your body that you do have. Guys, I'm never going to have abs again. I'm okay with that, right? So you can join my team. And that is okay. Now, if you do feel good after you've had your baby and you do want to incorporate some exercises, you can start to incorporate everything that you did pre-baby. So you can go back onto your back again. You can start to lift heavy, whatever it is that you did before.
Great. I think sort of taking that pressure off is so important when it comes to women and how we look and getting away from it and just feeling better. What about perimenopause, menopause? Any tips around those quite important sort of life stages?
So if you are experiencing, that's sort of not my area of expertise. I tend to work with women who are specifically, pregnant or not pregnant. If you are experiencing that, I would say go to a PT who does understand that a little bit more than I do. You're going to find you want to find somebody who's a level 4 qualified PT, and they're good. They sort of work with special populations. So anyone who is, that you want to work specifically with. I would say more than anything, and I'm going to it's like banging on about it, is your strength training. That's going to make you feel better. But also with perimenopause is how you feel, is how you feel. I mean, that's sort of as much as I can give you really on that subject.
No, I think that sounds right. I mean, from a nutritional perspective, we do know that the change in estrogen does have an impact on, it increases your cardiovascular risk. It definitely impacts your bone health. So those are areas to look at. And again, why strength training would be really great to just protect your muscle mass and your bone health and to support those two. So I thought we'd also wrap up maybe with 3 top exercises or 3 top tips, if you could share those with us, for anyone just wanting to take something away from this chat.
So like I sort of explained before, a lot of the time we tend to focus on our core. We want those beautiful abs, don't we? And what we tend to do is do like a million crunches, not sort of realizing that our core is actually encompasses our entire trunk. So it is those abdominal muscles, it is your back, so everything back here, and then it's also including your glutes. So not realizing that your glutes play a huge part. Sorry, my legs have fallen asleep while I was Kneeling down, so it's also including your glutes, so helping you stand up nice and tall. So what I've done is I'm going to give you 3 exercises that you can take home that are not a crunch, because we've done crunches. They're for the 80s, we're going to leave them back there. Number 1 is going to be your bird dog. So what you want to do is you want to get onto all fours. If you guys don't mind, I'm just going to show it through here. So you're going to get onto all fours. Make sure that you're holding your belly button up towards your spine. And from here, your sort of medium level is going to be alternating arms, alternating legs. So extending your right leg, extending your left arm as far out as you can, trying to hold it steady, and then coming back down and alternating to the other side. Now you can make that harder or easier. If you want to make it harder, you come off of your knees, and you do the same thing, alternate arm, alternate leg. If you want to make it a little bit easier, you just stay here, and you can just do your arms or your legs. And what that does is it works out the back, your back, and your core. Second exercise is a dead bug. So, sitting on your back or lying down. Can you still see me? Thumbs up.
I think we'll see your arms and legs when they get into the air.
Here we go. So you're going to pull your belly button down towards the floor. Arms come up, and from here, alternate arms, alternate legs. You drop it down, you come back in, and you alternate to the other side. Now the trick here, team, is that as you go down or as you move, your spine is going to want to come off the floor. You need to make sure that you're holding it all the way down. That's going to feel a million times harder. And finally, your third exercise is going to focus on your glutes. So we've all done this one before, but it's a really good one to hold. You lie down, squeeze those glutes up as much as you can, and then as you go down, you're going to take a count of 3 seconds to go down and then straight back up. And those are my 3.
Didn't see that one, Sage. Is that a glute bridge? Were you doing a glute bridge?
Yes,
and lifting up?
But what I would sort of recommend for that one is that you slowly come back down and then you squeeze right back up. And that's just going to increase how effective it is to do that exercise. So we're doing glutes, we're doing our back, and also our core. Not just crunches. We're done with those.
Oh, brilliant. Thanks, Sage. I'm so pleased we got there despite all the technical hitches. It was really great chatting to you today.
Happy International Women's Day. I'm here. Sasha, if anybody has any questions at all, or if they want to send them to you or send them to me, I'm always happy to talk to you guys after this as well. Anyone who wants to get it.
Perfect. And thanks to everybody who joined.
Awesome. Bye, Sasha. Have a lovely day.
Take care.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
And to you too. Take care. Bye, everyone.